Hello everyone. Today we're going to use AI as a teaching assistant, not a replacement. We're going to show you how AI can help us plan lessons, design activities, and support differentiation, but only when teachers stay in control. Okay, so let's see how we can plan a grammar lesson using AI, specifically ChatGPT. So I have a grammar book that is used in schools, which is High Note. It's grade 9 here, and it's a student book. I'm sure there will be more tips for teachers in the teacher's book, but I'm using this book for the sake of this tutorial. So the first lesson title is Close to You. It's about family and friends. This is very important because when we plan, we have to give AI the context of the lesson, not only the grammar point. So let's look at the grammar here. You can see, okay, so there is sometimes, usually, often here is staying. So it's about present simple and present continuous. If you look here, you will see that, yeah, it is present simple and present continuous. So I want to plan a lesson for my students on present simple and present continuous using AI. But one thing to note here is that each school or each country or each institution will have a lesson plan template. It's the official template that is used by the Ministry of Education. So when a supervisor comes to your class, they would ask you for the lesson plans and they would expect you to be using the official template. I will show you my template, my personal template. You start with the name, like here typing, so you would type your name, for example, Bashir Mufla. The second thing is the lesson focus. So we have systems and skills. Systems are grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and skills are reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Since we have a grammar lesson, it's systems, so I will write systems here. So what is the area? We said it's grammar. So I'll type grammar here. And the date of the lesson. And then what is the level? Since we have grade 9, I'll just write grade 9. And what is the model? When we plan, we have to plan according to models. In our teaching grammar unit, there are many models for teaching grammar. You can see that this is grade 9 and it's a review of the present simple and the present continuous. So students have covered this. We're not going to use the PPP. We're going to use the TTT. It's great for review. So TTT, which is test. We test their background about present simple and continuous. We teach the things that are still missing, and then we test again. It's TTT, test, teach, test. So I have these here. Now we go to the learning objectives. We try to use the Bloom's taxonomy. We have to make sure that the objective is SMART. SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, and time-bound. So when we say understand, it's difficult to measure understanding, but use, of course, you can measure use because you will be seeing your students using the present simple or the present continuous. So I will say learners will be able to use the present simple and the present continuous. And the second thing, which is important, is the context. You have to add the context to the learning objectives. In the context, family, and friends, as we saw in the book, to you, right? Let's write it like this. The secondary aim is either a speaking or a writing aim because we expect in every class to have a productive task where they produce the language. Now let's look at the lesson plan procedure. So in my lesson plans, I have a stage. So what is the stage? I have lead in, and then I have T, the first one, which is test. And then I have the second T, which is teach. And I have the third T, which is test again. And then I have the free practice. So I tested them, and then I taught them what is missing. Then I tested them again. Now it's time for me to give them a task to use the target language. This is the free practice. So this is the one which is speaking or writing. And this is the secondary aim. So Now I have the model, TTT, I have the grade, I have the context, close to you, family and friends. I have these things to fill out: stage, teacher, activity, learner activity, objective, time, interaction, materials, resources. So let's remember these things. We have the model, TTT, and then we have teacher activity. What is the teacher going to do? And then the learner activity, what learners are going to do. And this is the most important thing, because when you write down what you are going to do and what the students are going to do, you get a clear picture of who's going to work more, you or the students. Are the students engaged? How much talking time are you going to use? How much time are they going to use? So here it makes it clear whether your class is teacher-centered or student-centered. And then you have the objective. What is the objective of this stage? I mean, this is important. So a lead-in, what is the objective of a lead-in? For example, it's to create interest. It's to lead students into the topic. And then you have interaction. It's important to write it here. By interaction, we mean, is it going to be pair work or group work or individual, whole class? You're talking to the students, whatever. And then you have the materials and resources, which is, again, important, because if you plan to use the lesson again, you will have a clear idea of where you got these materials from. Like, for example, if you got the lead in from the book, you're going to write high note, grade 9, page 10, for example, so that when you use the lesson plan again, you have an idea where that lead in came from. But also when you're teaching the same class, you have the lesson plan in front of you. Now let's go to ChatGPT and see how we can plan this one. So we're here. This is the free version. And then I'm going to create a prompt based on the information I have. So let's say here, create a lesson on present simple and present continuous, right? Using the TTT model, grade 9. We saw that, right? It's important to put the grade and also the context. The context of the lesson is family and friends. The title is close to you. Why is it important here? Because we expect everything that is created here to be related to the context. Why do we need a context? Because when we teach a lesson within a context, it becomes easier for students to engage and to speak about that context. Like, for example, if I start talking about family and friends and then food and then you go to music, it's so confusing for the learners. But if I talk about family and friends and then the student listens to a classmate talking about her friend, that classmate would give a model to the other students. The other students would follow the same model. The teacher will be talking about family and friends. Everybody's talking about family and friends, and then there is better confidence, there is better interaction. So context is very important in every lesson plan. The first thing is asking ChatGPT to create objectives. So create a main objective, which is using the present simple continuous and a secondary aim, practice either writing, speaking. Here is the lesson procedure. Okay, now make the plan starts with, okay, now make sure the lesson starts lead in the TTT3 and ends with the free practice. The plan should take teacher activity, learner activity, objective of the stage, type of interaction. Maybe you can say here whole class, pair work, group work, so that they use your terminology, or individual, and materials and resources. So now I put down everything I need. This is a very detailed. But to be on the safe side, and if I have this here, upload, here is the lesson plan template. Please fill it out. So here I'm on the safe side. I can say here, thinking add photo or files. I click here, then I'll go here. I have the lesson plan template. Open, so it's there, and we go. So it's filling out the same template, training, lesson plan, background, it's the same thing close to you. By then the lesson will be able to correctly use the present simple and present continuous to talk about habits, routines, and current actions in the context of family and friends. Amazing. Secondary aim, learners will develop speaking skills through a free practice activity discussing what their family and friends usually do and what they're doing. So this, you can see that in creating plans with AI, this is the first step. But for example, if I want my students to write a letter to their friend because I want them to practice email writing, then I will just go here. Can you make the secondary aim about writing an email to a friend? So now this is a time where we do some refining. We refine the lesson plan and make it context appropriate. You can check the context if, for example, there is something culturally inappropriate. You have to check everything very well. But you can see here, it's beautifully done. It's the free version. So the lead in, what does the teacher do? The teacher shows picture of families and friends doing activities, eating together. So you have an idea, you hold the picture and the students guess, and this is what the learners do. What is the objective? Activate background, knowledge, and introduce context, which is family and friend. How much time? 5 minutes. Whole class, because you'll be holding a picture and the whole class is interacting. And these are the pictures, right? You can see here, teacher gives a short worksheet. Here you have the materials. You can see here, what is it? Now you can build that lesson plan. Like for example, here, short pictures of family and close friends. This is the lead in, right? So now I can start saying that, can you create some pictures for the lead in? It created 4 pictures, and then I will have to choose the ones which are appropriate. I might not have as many attempts. It's a free version, so we have to use that wisely, but we can use Google or other AI models to get more images. But also we have to be careful of the images we want to share with our students. Are they culturally appropriate or not? It's just an example. And then if I want, for example, here, test 1, teacher give a short worksheet, 8 to 10 sentences, gap fill. See here? So I'll come here and say, create the 8 gap fill sentences for the test stage. Now you understand the importance of context. You see here, everything it generates is related to the context. You see, sister, friends, grandparents, everything is about family and friends. If you want to have an answer key, you can say create the answer key. So what I have to do is copy and paste to my lesson plan. You go stage by stage. If things are clear, then you can move on. So for example here, teach, meaning and use CCQs. If you're not familiar with CCQs, you can say create the CCQ for the teach stage, meaning and use. See, it's asking you to use these 2 sentences to demonstrate the meaning. So you say, my sister studies with her friends every day. Is this about something happening now or regularly? This is the answer you're supposed to get from the students. Regularly. Is it a habit or a temporary action? Habit. So when they answer, you make sure they answer like this. It means that they got the meaning and the use. It's very impressive. So one thing you need to do is to make sure that main aim and the secondary aim match everything in here. Because, for example, here, learners will develop speaking skills through a free practice activity, discussing what their family and friends usually do and what they're doing now. So if I go to the free practice, there's an interview. They're going to ask about their family members, what they usually do, and what they're doing now. and then report to the class. It's an amazing activity. So it matches. So what I have to do is I will copy this one here and I will go back to my template and start filling things. You come here and you paste, and you do the same thing for everything. When you finish, you list the materials you're using. For example, if you liked those images that were created, save them and put them here so that you can use them another time, use them in the class. Everything you used or created, you put it here. Also, the activities, like for example, the fill the gap activity, you copy and paste it here. Answer key here, everything. I hope everything is clear. We've demonstrated how to plan grammar lessons using AI. There are other models than TTT, and they are available in our teaching grammar unit. Yes, AI is powerful, but it needs professional judgment. Use it to save time, to generate ideas, and to support differentiation, not to replace planning or thinking. Happy teaching.